Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. My name is Sarah and this is Just Being Sarah. Oh yeah, welcome back to yet another episode. But today we're not doing fitness and wellness, but today we're doing we're diving in deeply into my motherhood journey as Sarah becoming a parent. This journey begins in the year 2019, early 2019, and honestly, I didn't plan to become a parent. Yes, God knows. I kept on telling him that, you know what, God, this is not the time for me to become a parent because I was still in school. I was doing my final year at the university, but unfortunately, it seems like God allowed it to happen, and I found myself pregnant. Dealing with the regular cycles, something crazy. So sometimes you don't know what is happening. Sometimes you're like, maybe I'm okay, I'm safe, but unfortunately at that time I was not safe, and all the precaution measures that I took didn't work for me. So that is how I found myself pregnant, and I discovered, I think, at around 8 weeks. Yes. And it's funny that I just randomly woke up and I was like, let me just test, because my periods had delayed. Of course, I could go 2 months, 3 months without periods, but I was safe. Maybe at that time, I was safe. But this time round, I don't know what really happened. Like, I can't really explain. But this time, something kept on telling me. Randomly, I was going for groceries in the evening with my partner, and I was like, you know what? Let me just give me some change so that I can go to this pharmacy or chemist that was next, and let me just go buy this kit. It's only 50 shillings, so much I try to buy so that I can be sure that I'm safe. Just wanted to confirm. Actually, what I confirmed was not what I wanted. Yes, the strip came out positive, and it was that strong, ile positive, ile ungoji. And I remember crying in the washroom. But then we had a visitor in the house. I was crying. I had to lie that I was not feeling well, so nikatoka nje, and also I had to lie that kuna mtu napelekea notes zangu za campus, so nikajitoa kwa ngori. Then I went outside and cried, and the journey began. There was nothing I could do. I'm pro. I don't want to say that I'm not against pro-choice. I'm not against pro-life. Like, kila mtu afanye maisha yake vile anataka, right? We come from different backgrounds, we're different personalities, so it's up to you. But for me at that point, I was like, it's okay. Wacha tu sasa tutafanya aje. Can you imagine? Funny thing is that I was so happy that nilikuwa nimemaliza campus without actually getting pregnant. I know it's crazy. People be like, when you're sexually active, you must be clear that there are consequences coming out. Whatever that I tried to use didn't, like, it was at that point that it gave up on me and I got pregnant. And I was like, I wish I took extra precautions. Of course, I had that thought in the beginning of the year, but I don't know what happened. But whatever happened, and I found myself pregnant. The journey was not. I cannot say it was tough because I was still schooling. I remember I realized I was pregnant when I was sitting for my end of semester exams, and immediately that strip showed a positive pregnancy. Morning sickness kicked in. I remember we were preparing some beef stew, but I couldn't stand that beef. The coriander in the beef and the spices. I started having morning sickness immediately after that strip was positive. I struggled with morning sickness. Sometimes I had to go for injections for me to be able to function normally and carry on with my exams, because I had severe morning sickness at some point. Yes. and not even Nosic or promethazine could help me stop being nauseous and vomiting. So that is how it was. First trimester, second trimester, third trimester. At least the morning sickness was not that severe, and at least I could sustain some habits like eating my favorite foods. Yeah. One challenge was telling my parents that I was pregnant. Remember, I'm a firstborn. I'm the firstborn in a family of 5. So can you imagine going to your parents and telling them, you know what, mommy or daddy, I'm pregnant and you're supposed to graduate? Like I said, it happened in my final year of campus. So I was supposed to graduate at that particular year, and also I got pregnant. So imagine you going to your parents and telling them, you know what, mommy and daddy, I'm pregnant. In an African home, not even an African, as a parent. Now I'm a parent, I can now tell how disappointing it can be or embarrassing. But can you imagine me going to my parents telling them, you know what, Sarah, mommy and daddy, I'm pregnant. It was something that almost got me into severe stress. I can't say depression, severe stress, because I didn't know how to approach my dad and tell him, you know what, daddy, I'm pregnant. I'm your firstborn, but what has happened has happened. It was tough. But I remember when I was almost, I think it was around 7 months. Now I couldn't hide. You know, I don't know whether parents have instincts. My dad from nowhere, he was calling me. My mom was calling me. Hey. And I was like, kwani wamejua? But later, you know, I gathered courage and told my mom, because I used to talk to my mom most of the time. So I was like, wacha tu nimwambie, because huyu ni kama amejua. She kept on calling me and she's asking me, are you okay? Nowadays you don't pick my phones. Nowadays you don't pick my calls, and if any of you pick my calls, you're not talking to me normally or casually as we used to. I was like, you know what, mami kimeniramba. I was like, mami kimeniramba, hapa ni kumoto. Mama was like, I don't know how to tell your dad. Hey, your dad ni mkali, mimi hata sijui nitamuapproach aje. So wewe jua vile utafanya. So unajua mzege amenirudia. I remember one day I gathered courage and I wrote my dad a very long message, and I told him, you know what, daddy, shule iko karibu kuisha, but also something has happened, so I don't know what you will do, but that is it. I'm pregnant. And I've always wanted to make you proud, but you see, this happened and I didn't know what to do. But it has happened, but I promised to be a good girl at the end of it all. Remember, I nearly switched off my phone, and then I called my mom the following day and I was like, Father, amekwambia nini? Najua nilimtumia message. And mother kaniambia ajamkia kitu. But later on, my mom told me that father alisema nimemwandikia message ingine hapa hata ielewi. Nikasema good, kumbalione message. So at least I became free now to carry on my pregnancy to deliver. And I remember when I was going into labor, delivering my son, my dad called me and wished me all the best. Like, I did expect this from him, but I remember he called me and he was like, we're wishing you all the best. We can't just wait to for you to get done with delivery. And I really thank God. Looking back, I was like, thank you, God, for giving me, like, making my parents become understanding at that point, because you see, I was struggling with school. I had to make sure that now I'm graduating. My exams nimefanya, or the missing marks, I followed them up, and God was so gracious because he saw me through all this journey. I remember when I was doing clearance and ensuring that my name is on the graduation list. Let me tell you, I remember we were watching football. It was, I think, Manchester United playing. And I remember the list was sent in those groups, and I was looking for my name. And when I saw my name, I jumped into celebration. I remember I got out of that joint. We were having coffee as we were watching. I remember getting out of that joint to the washrooms, and I immediately called my dad and told him, "But Daddy, I'm on the graduation list." Actually, I was heavily pregnant, but hey, manze, God saw me through all those 2 journeys. You see, 2 degrees. Another one was almost coming. I was sure that this one is coming, and the other one, I kept on following lecturers for my missing marks. But eventually, God saw me through the journey, and yeah, I graduated with my 2 degrees. And funny thing is that I delivered 11 days to my graduation. It was, graduation happened in November. It usually happens in November, towards the end of November, 29th. And remember, I gave birth to my son on the 11th of November. Was it 11th of November or 15th? Oh my God. See, that is what motherhood does to your brain. Yes. It was on 17th of November. That is when I delivered my son. On the 17th of November, and the graduation was on 29th of November. Hey. And unfortunately, I went through CS. I don't want to say CS is bad, but that is how I ended up delivering my son through CS. It was I can say poor dilatation. Yeah, I couldn't dilate from 7 centimeters, so I had to be taken to theater, and that is how I gave birth to my son. And I became a mom. I didn't plan to become a mom, but that is how I ended up becoming a mom. What I can say is that sometimes God gives you grace to carry on in such situations. I didn't see myself become a mom at that time because I was still a child. I was just into post-teenage, still a young adult. I was 22 years old, and I didn't expect myself to become a mom at that young age because I was still developing, I was still growing, but God gave me the grace to carry through the journey. God's grace was very sufficient. And even how I delivered my son and raising him up to this point, it has been God's grace. Yes, sometimes I ask God why He allowed it to happen, because I had my other plans that I was supposed to finish school, get into my career, explore, have some money, just be an independent woman first. But you see, God's plan sometimes, I don't know. I really can't tell what really happened. But that is, of course, I knew I was sexually active, of course, but I was being cautious enough not to become pregnant that early enough. But you see, it happened, and that is how I ended up being a mom at 22 years old. I can't encourage young girls to get pregnant at that young age, because you're still in school, you don't know your career path, you're just becoming an adult. It's the time you're supposed to explore yourself. You as a girl, as a lady, it is a time for you to explore yourself. Know what you love, know what you don't like, get into that career in corporate world or whatever. Explore yourself, enjoy your life. Yes. So I don't encourage, or I highly discourage young girls getting pregnant or getting into motherhood or parenting at that young age. But when it happens, you just need God's grace to carry you through. Because I didn't want that to happen to me at that time, but it happened. But God's grace was very sufficient for me up until right now. I'm so happy being my son's mom, and I love him so much, and we love each other so much. Sometimes it's like, you know what, you're not my best friend. You're no longer my best friend. I don't like you. You make me sad. And I'm like, yes, I also don't like you because you're making me sad. And sometimes we make up and it's like, Mommy, are you grumpy with me? And I'm like, no, I'm not grumpy with you. You're my best friend. So there are those moments whereby you're like, I wish I did. I wish. How can I swallow that child back into my tummy, because I can't take this anymore. And there are those moments you're like, oh, I love my son so much, I love my baby so much. So that is how motherhood is. It has its highs and lows. Yeah, the lows are there, the highs are there, so it's you to find a balance. Yes, so that is how my motherhood journey was. It It was not easy, but also God's grace was sufficient for me, and I managed through it. And right now I'm also managing it. Motherhood or parenting is a lifetime commitment. Yes, motherhood and parenting is a lifetime. Hakuna siku tamka and you're like, leo sitaki kuwa mama fulani ama baba ya nani. No, there's no single day. Hakuna vile utamka siku moja useme I want to swallow these children back into my tummy. Oh, hey. Hakuna reverse gear. So it's you to press on that neutral gear or drive and pelekane. You can, hakuna siku tamka useme now umepark now, I don't want to be somebody's mom or dad. No, it's a lifetime commitment. And once you get into that journey, you have to readjust your life. There are things you cannot do, there are things you can do. It's you to strike a balance and see how you can raise your babies so that they can be proud of you as your mom or dad. See you next time. Bye-bye.